There's always a wall. The only thing that changes is how your thieving cat gets past it. Circumventing the brick barrier that surrounds a fancy art museum is the first of several challenges that get thrown your way as Netflix's interactive cartoon Cat Burglar unfolds. The premise is simple. A sly feline is trying to steal a priceless unseen work of art from a museum, but a lovable-yet-slow-witted guard dog is on duty. The success or failure of the heist is in the hands of the viewer, based entirely on your performance in a series of timed challenges. In your typical video game, and make no mistake, Cat Burglar is definitely a kind of video game, challenge comes from thematically and narratively appropriate gameplay. You're a marauding, vengeance-seeking demigod in God of War, so fighting monsters of myth is your main interactive hurdle. Call of Duty games cast you as a soldier on the battlefield, so shooting enemy forces with your guns is the order of the day. Nothing mysterious about any of this. However, that's not how Cat Burglar works. When our cat reaches the next phase of his heist, whether it's circumventing the museum's outer wall, cutting video camera feeds, or stealing the dog's vault key, that's when the gameplay takes over. It comes in the form of an either-or exercise, in which you're given a simple idea, such as suitable chore for a kid, or a real Netflix show, and asked to pick the best answer out of two choices. It's a pass-fail kind of challenge. Answer all three questions correctly, and the cat successfully navigates around whatever hazard he was facing. Get one of the choices wrong, however, and the cat dies in a horrible yet funny Looney Tunesy sort of way. Failures cost you 1 life, out of 3 total that you get for each run of the heist. Losing all 3 isn't that big of a deal though, since the cartoon itself is pretty short, and dynamic editing automatically skips any scenes that never change. That's the other defining feature of Cat Burglar. The specifics of the heist change from one attempt to the next. Yes, that wall is always there barring our cat's entry to the museum, but his strategy for circumventing it is pulled at random from a pool of possibilities with each new viewing. Yes, including after a death.
Hey, you gotta click the correct answer, Sleepy. I only got 2 more lives, which means 2 more chances.
The entertainment value is in the details here. Not just in the what's gonna happen next randomness, but in the particulars that spring to life in the writing. This is still a cartoon with a story and tension built between 2 fairly goofball characters. So every branch you get to see is just another moment in their fictional life together. We've all seen Coyote try and fail to kill Roadrunner countless times. We don't keep coming back because the wild canine might one day succeed. We do it for the death traps and the unintended mayhem they create. That's the allure of Cat Burglar's branching story. The more you play, the more wild cartoon antics you get to see. There's also that gameplay layer though. Like, think of Cat Burglar as something that you'd play on your Xbox with a controller in your hand, as opposed to something you'd watch on TV, probably with your smartphone in your hand, just fiddling around. Multitasking is not going to work with this. Like, each either-or challenge is just too short for anything less than total focused attention. The heist is what ties everything together. Like, without giving away any of the ending specifics, when the cat finally successfully makes off with a priceless piece of art, which you do get to see, and it's always some cat-themed riff on a very famous painting, the story isn't technically over. You see, the wall that you hang your art on has spaces for a bunch of different frames, which means that you're supposed to do the heist over and over again until you get all of the priceless pieces of art, at which point you will have seen all of the Cat Burglar story branches. It should come as no surprise to those who have paid attention that Black Mirror's Charlie Brooker is the credited creator of Cat Burglar. He gave Netflix its first interactive experience, 2018's Black Mirror Bandersnatch. That one played more like a visual novel, with viewers guiding the story by choosing how the main character would react or behave in various situations. Cat Burglar more confidently embraces the video game elements that are a more natural fit for this young and still evolving genre of entertainment. And that's most evident with the inclusion of lives and the narratively coherent reasons to replay the heist. But even the seeming disconnect between the story and the playable challenges that shape it serves a purpose. By unhooking one from the other, Brooker essentially puts a spotlight on the fact that this is something that you have to actively play. If you're looking at this and thinking it's a Looney Tunes inspired evolution of Don Bluth's arcade classics Dragon's Lair and Space Ace, well, that's not quite it. We're building on the foundation laid out by those earlier classics, sure, but by separating story and gameplay. Cat Burglar is actually teaching Netflix viewers, way better than Bandersnatch ever did, that there are some things that you watch and some things that you play.
Get your fingers out of your nose and onto the remote.